What's up, y'all? Welcome back, Pitchside with Parker, and I'm so happy that you've joined me today because this is the day we are starting our group by group Euro tournament previews. Today we got Group A, which includes Turkey, Italy, Wales, and Switzerland. And then every single day going forward until the tournament starts, I will be putting out another group preview. We're going to go in alphabetical order. So tomorrow will be B, then it'll be C, and so on. In each video, I will go team by team, and it will include the squads, the potential lineups for each team, their history in the Euros, predictions, any and everything you could possibly want to know ahead of the tournament. So if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 500 subscribers and we're getting pretty close, so I would really appreciate it. I'm also going to do a giveaway at 500 subs, so if you can make that happen, that would be great. And be sure to smash the like button before we even get into the video, because that's what we do on this channel. Also, I want you to leave a comment right now with your predictions for Group A. I guess you could also wait if you want to just watch the video and copy what I say, but I want to know what you think. Leave your predictions 1 through 4. How is Group A going to finish? And then you can see how it matches up with what I'm going to say in the video. And one last disclaimer before we get started. I apologize in advance if I mispronounce any names. FIFA rankings are very stupid, so don't take them too seriously. And lastly, the lineups that I show in this video are a mix of the old lineups that I've researched, but also my personal preference. So if you don't like them, that's fine. Just let me know in the comments. So as I explained in yesterday's video, which you should definitely check out if you didn't already, the format of Euro 2021 is interesting. There is no one specific host country, so each group has 2 host cities, and I'm going to start each group by giving you a look at the map on where the teams are and where the host cities are. So as you can see for Group A, the 2 host cities are Rome and Baku. The fact that they made Baku a host city is a little bit ridiculous, but you'll remember that they hosted the Europa League final a couple years ago, so it's a location that UEFA likes. But really, for all of these teams except Turkey, it is an exceptional distance to travel. The other host city is Rome, which obviously is going to be great for Italy, also very good for Switzerland, which isn't far away. And for any team who has to play Italy in Rome, that's always a very difficult place to play. Overall, it's definitely going to be toughest for Wales travel-wise, and I think that will play out in my predictions. But let's get to the team-by-team preview. So Italy were perfect in qualifying, 10-0-0, perfect record through their Nations League group, which is how teams qualified for the Euros for this year. But they still have a lot to prove as a team. I mean, they obviously missed the last World Cup. Last time they were at the Euros, they did all right, but they lost in the quarterfinals, and this team will have ambitions of a lot more than that. As you can see on the graphic, Italy actually have won the Euros before back in 1968. So here's your fun piece of Euro history for today. That tournament was held in Italy. Only 4 teams participated, so it wasn't exactly the hardest to win. And in the semifinal, penalty kicks literally had not been invented yet. So the game went 0-0 after extra time, and it was decided on a coin flip. Again, in Italy, with Italy involved. And supposedly, the coin flip happened in the locker room. And then when Italy won it, they ran out onto the stadium and announced it so all the fans could cheer and they could advance to the final. Very fishy, if you ask me. But then they ended up winning the final in a replay, because that game also tied, but for some reason they had the rule in place to go to a replay instead of a coin flip. It's still the only event of that scale that has ever been decided by a coin flip. But that is how Italy won in 1968. Anyway, back to 2021, let's take a look at Italy's squad. The Azzurri have a very strong midfield, and when you look at the dual 8s of Marco Verratti and Nicolo Barella, those are really 2 of my favorite midfielders to watch in the world. So I'm very excited to see them play with this Italian team, and they may have Jorginho behind them, they may have Locatelli behind them, who's performed very well in Serie A this season for Sassuolo. But I think the creativity and the running and the passing ability of those 2 players will definitely influence a lot of games for Italy and allow them to really dominate with the ball. They also have an elite goal scorer up top with Ciro Immobile, who has been on fire the past couple seasons for Lazio. Really, their entire front 6 is very good. But the questions for this Italian team come at the back, which historically is very strange for Italy. They are known for having the best center backs in the world, great goalkeepers, a team that is notoriously very difficult to beat. However, when you look at the team now, I mean, yes, they have Donnarumma in goal. He's pretty solid, but the center backs, we don't really know who's going to play. Chiellini and Bonucci, the Juventus combo, have been around forever, but they're both getting a little bit old. And as you saw by Juventus's performance in the domestic leagues this season, they're kind of over the hill a little bit. I put them in the starting lineup for this just because they've been in the team for so long, and it feels like the kind of thing where Roberto Mancini may just revert to the more familiar lineup with those two at the back. But he does have options of Acerbi and Bastoni. Acerbi played a lot in their qualifiers, so definitely potential for him to play as well, but I listed those two. And then also, Florenzi's decent, but Emerson at left back definitely raises a lot of questions for me for Italy as well. That's probably only something that will really get exposed if they make it into the knockout stages and stuff. But yeah, the back line is where I'm worried about Italy. So my final thought on Italy is that they should win this group. They don't have a lot of strong competition at the top, and based on their qualifying record, I expect them to finish first. But another quarterfinal exit like their last Euro appearance definitely would not surprise me. I'm hoping for the best because to me, football is better when Italy are good. But sadly, that's just not going to be the case until they get some better defenders. So that's what I think about this Italy team. Next up, let's talk about Switzerland. So Switzerland under Vladimir Petkovic is a team where you kind of know what you're going to get. They play 3 or 5 at the back, depending how you want to look at it. And they're just a very solid team that's hard to break down. And their system is very much designed so that there's 7 players essentially that are defensive players, and then it gives freedom to the front 3. Against the good teams, they will typically sit back in that 5-back formation and soak up the pressure and try to play on the counter. Against better teams, they do look a little more expansive. The wingbacks come forward, and they do try to keep the ball a little bit more. We saw last weekend when Switzerland played USA in a friendly, they pretty much dominated the US in that game, and they're definitely very capable of doing that, even to pretty good sides, which is what I would class the US national team as right now. Looking at Switzerland's squad, most of their players play in the Bundesliga. There's also a handful of Premier League players. You got Granit Xhaka, who is the bane of my existence as an Arsenal fan, but tends to play very well for Switzerland, and he is their captain. You know how I feel if you watch my channel about Granit Xhaka as a captain, but again, he gets the job done for Switzerland. They also have Xherdan Shaqiri, of course, from Liverpool, who you'll remember he probably scored up there with one of the best goals at the 2016 Euros with that bicycle kick from outside the box. And then Fabian Schär as well. And they also have Freuler from Atalanta in the midfield. So they do have a lot of quality from some good leagues. Also, a couple other players that I wanted to point out from this lineup that had very strong seasons this year. One is Kevin Mbabu at right back, who was brilliant for Wolfsburg, who finished in the top 4 in Bundesliga. And then Haris Seferovic up top. He will likely be paired with Embolo from Gladbach. You got Seferovic, who's more of a classic hold-up number 9. Embolo, much more speed and ability to threaten in behind. And so they play off of each other very well. But Seferovic this season, he was playing at Benfica, and he scored 22 goals and had 7 assists in the league for Benfica. So he's coming off a very good season, and he's a clinical player up top that can certainly win them matches. So as I discussed, this team does have a lot of talent, but I think for me, what I worry about with Switzerland, especially when it comes to the bigger games against better teams, is do they have enough creativity to score goals against other teams? They can definitely be solid at the back. They've got solid defenders. They've got a good goalkeeper in Jan Sommer. But if a team is able to handle Shaqiri in the midfield in that 10 spot, those two up top really aren't creating a lot on their own. And that's where I have a lot of concern for Switzerland. So I'm not sure that they have much to make a run in the knockouts, but I do think they will finish second in the group. All right, Turkey is the next team in Group A. And let me tell you, Turkey are one of the most intriguing teams in Europe. Yes, you heard that right. Let me sell it to you. So they finished second in their Nations League group with France in qualifying. In the 2 games where they played France, they beat them and drew. They also beat Netherlands 4-2 in the World Cup qualifiers recently as well. So this is a team that over the past couple of years has created some great results internationally. And then when you look at the players that make up their team, they've got 3 players who just came off the title win with Lille in France. So they got Yilmaz, Selic, and Yazisi, who are all basically in the form of their lives and will bring that to the Turkish team. They also have a fun mix of some younger players with some of the old as well. You'll obviously remember Çalhanoğlu and all of his crazy free kicks. He's still balling out for AC Milan, and he will be in the Turkish side as well. And another player that you might recognize as well is Ozan Kabak, who signed recently with Liverpool during their centre-back crisis. And then his centre-back partner, Soyuncu, just lifted the FA Cup with Leicester City, of course, as did his teammate Cengiz Ünder. Although he played a smaller part for Leicester, he's a very important part to this Turkish team. He's an exciting young winger, and he's one of the players that I'm most excited to see how he will do for Turkey in this tournament. They have depth at center back, they have depth at striker, and depth in the attacking midfield positions, which is something that a lot of teams at this tournament can't really say. There are some holes in this roster. I mean, I would say left back specifically and defensive midfield are areas where they're not super strong, but even with that being said, Turkey does still have great pieces off the bench that I haven't even mentioned. And overall, it's just a really strong team that has been putting in great performances recently. My verdict on Turkey, if you can't tell, I'm drinking the Turkish Kool-Aid, okay? When you look at Burak Yilmaz, he's had 16 goals and 5 assists in 23 starts with Lille this season. He essentially won them the league. He got the hat trick against Netherlands recently. He's in the form of his life. I mean, he might be one of the 10 best strikers in the world right now. So I think they're going to ride that hot hand, and I could really see Turkey going on a Cinderella run in the Euros. Now, I just told you that Switzerland was going to finish second in the group. So Turkey might even finish third. I don't know. But they have the pieces to make a run in the knockouts even, which excites me. And you can still make the knockouts if you finish third. So I don't know whether they'll finish second. Maybe they finish third. I still do think Italy topped the group. But either way, Turkey are going to be very dangerous, and I like them as a Cinderella team to make a deep run in Euro 2021. Finally, we'll discuss Wales, and don't let that number 17 FIFA ranking fool you. This team is going to finish bottom of the group. Unfortunately for Wales, they've drawn a lot more headlines off the field than on it leading up to the Euros. I mean, Ryan Giggs has been arrested and removed as manager after all of his ongoing legal troubles stemming from him being an absolute scumbag. And so they've brought in Rob Page as the manager. He doesn't seem to have a whole lot of a plan, and it's hard to blame him when you look at this Wales squad. They had that miraculous run to the semifinals. Everybody was behind them. Gareth Bale was balling out. 2016, it was a fun ride. But the bottom line is that Gareth Bale in 2021 is much different than Gareth Bale was in 2016. And so are players like Aaron Ramsey, Ashley Williams, who's a Welsh legend that will not be in this squad. It's just a very different team. So looking at the 26 players that Wales will be taking to the Euros, there is a bit of Premier League talent in the team, or even like ex-Premier League talent when you look at guys like Harry Wilson or Joe Allen. But of course, there's also Gareth Bale, as we mentioned, Daniel James from Manchester United, Joe Rodon from Tottenham, pretty solid center back. And there's Ethan Ampadu, who used to play in the Premier League for Chelsea and Sheffield. People know him as a center back, but he plays center midfield for Wales. It's just a very unbalanced team, honestly. Sometimes Page deploys 3 at the back. Sometimes he deploys 4. They don't really have 3 great center backs to throw out. They don't really have great wing backs either. I mean, Ben Davies from Tottenham is another one of those Premier League talents that they have, but especially when it comes to the front line, there just isn't a lot of balance. They have a handful of wingers who like to be goal scorers and creators, and that's where all of their potential attacking-wise comes from, but you can't really play 4 wingers at the same time. And so you're looking at maybe starting Bale up top, maybe starting Dan James up top if you go 4-4-2 as I've projected here. Harry Wilson is more of a 10, but as I was looking at their lineups, they haven't really played many where they've actually used a real number 10. I mean, Aaron Ramsey may be in the squad, but he didn't play a whole lot for Juventus this season. And like I said, not the Aaron Ramsey of 2016. I love the guy dearly, but that blonde Aaron Ramsey back then was a different animal. Not having a striker is going to be a serious problem for Wales. Travel is going to be a problem for Wales, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Wayne Hennessy is a liability in goal, and I just don't see this going well for the Welsh team at the Euros. So the final verdict, I mean, you could probably talk yourself into this team making a little run. Gareth Bale goes on fire, and they try to repeat 2016, but it's just not going to happen, y'all. Don't get your hopes up too high. This team is going to finish 4th. And in reality, they got a really tough draw with the other teams that are in this group and how far they're going to have to travel. So that is going to be all for my Group A preview. If you didn't already, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and drop your predictions down in the comments below. Let me know if I was wrong. Let me know if you think differently about these teams, about any of these players, I would love to hear what you think in the comments. But appreciate y'all for checking this one out. Again, there will be more videos every single day. So look out for Group B tomorrow. Go back and watch the Euro 2021 overview from yesterday if you missed that. And thanks for being here, man. Thanks for checking it out. So I will catch y'all tomorrow in the next one. Peace.